Good morning, everybody. It is 9:15 on Thursday, August 20th. I hope you are having a great start to your day. We are going to start off looking at SPY here as we have a gap down forming. We are going to be watching the very key level of support on the daily chart, and that is the 200-day moving average at 206.46. So keep an eye on that level. I would expect a bounce above it by the end of the day just because that has been the history of the chart for the past however many months as SPY has been in this very bullish uptrend. If that changes, if we get a close below the 200-day moving average, it will certainly be cause for concern and will shift our tone to bearish on the overall market outlook. So watch the 10-day 100 period moving average resistance here at 207.18. We just saw a little bounce. We found bottom this morning at 206.08. And we're all the way back up to 206.67. Came near the 100 period moving average resistance and were rejected. So keep your eye on that level. We also should see some resistance at the low of the day yesterday, which was 207.53. So those are some levels to watch, and the main one is the 200 moving average daily on the support. So let's look at some others here. We got Locos down under $13, unfortunately. That might skip people's stop losses that they had in place with the gap down. Low of the day yesterday was 13.22, and Loco is down with the market in general. So we'll have to keep our eye on that one as well. Sunni is currently above 13.50, which is one of the psychological resistance levels we were watching. If we see a break above this high, which was the high on the bounce yesterday of 13.97, we'll call that 14. We're going to be watching the 14 mark as resistance all day today. So if we get a close above 14, it might be time to start looking bullish on Sunni, but we're going to be watching the 10-day moving average resistance on that one as well. Looking at Apple, down pre-market with the overall SPY. We are seeing a test of 14 support here. The low was 114.01. After seeing the bearish day yesterday, we saw that 114 support was going to be tested, and that's exactly what happened pre-market, and I expect it to happen during the day today. I am pulling up the daily chart right now so we can see what to expect if we see a break of 114. If we break 114, it is very possible that we're coming down to the 110 mark, which is the low on this pullback. So keep your eye on 114. It's been the low of the day twice in the past 2 weeks, and that is the support level we are watching. 117 is still resistance. Let's look at Netflix. Also down pretty big pre-market. I suggested a test of 120, which it did pre-market again. So this is similar to Apple, where it is testing our downward target for support pre-market, and I expect it to test it during regular trading hours as well. After 120, we have a low on Netflix. There was a little dip after its new all-time high. That dip came down and hit a low of 118.66. And below 118.66, we have the middle Bollinger Band of 117.90. All of these moving averages and numbers that I'm giving you are going to change with the open as today gets factored into these moving averages. So keep that in mind and make sure you pull up your chart after open to see what these figures have changed to. But obviously the low of the day from back then, 118.66, isn't going to change, but the middle Bollinger Band support of 117.90 is going to be a little bit higher than that. So we'll be looking at 118 on Netflix today. Let's look at Tesla, one of the chat favorites. Also down pretty big. The short signal yesterday was the break in the low of the day back here. The low was 255.30. Came up, got rejected, and broke 255.30 down to 255.02 and closed just below the middle Bollinger Band. The close below the middle Bollinger Band was a signal that more downside was to come. Maritza has been all over Tesla, so that insight from him or her, sorry I don't know your sex, but is good to heed as they're getting their targets down. They're doing a good job studying, and they are watching Tesla very closely. So let's look on the daily chart at targets. Currently trading at 252. The middle Bollinger Band support. Here, I'll pull up the chart for you. We've got 11 minutes until the market opens. Here's Tesla getting rejected by the 50-day moving average, closing just below the middle Bollinger Band. We are going to look for a test of 250, and this gap fills at 247.93. We have the 100-day moving average at 244.45. So keep your eye on 250, and after that, 247.93. That's what we're looking at for Tesla. Let me go back on over to Fidelity. See what Google is doing. Google is down, not a ton of volume. Currently at 656.60. Going to pull up the daily chart and look at our targets there. So keep your eye out for anything that is up pre-market, as that's going to be going against the trend here. We have Google 10-day moving average support at 652.35 and the middle Bollinger Band at 642.05. The low on this current spike here is 651.66, 651.24. So keep your eye on 651.24. Currently it's 657, so there's a little ways to go there. Still in a bullish uptrend, and watch these 100 and 200 period moving average resistances, of course. Those are always very important on the 5-minute chart to keep in mind. Maritza is a she, that's what I thought, and thank you for sharing. PCLN. PCLN is down, not a lot of volume pre-market, but it did have a trade go through at 1282. Very wide spread in the bid and ask right now, so it's not even really worth looking at the pre-market action for PCLN. What we are looking at on the daily chart is the previous dip, which was down to 1276. So we have 1280 even support. After that, 1276, and the middle Bollinger Band is coming up at 1272. So all those levels are important there. RYAM, a nice runner yesterday, very volatile bounce play, currently at 766. Not much action, actually. That's surprising, a lack of action compared to all of yesterday. So we'll have to see how it opens up and the key levels to watch. Key levels to watch are the high that it hit, which was 828. That's going to be resistance, and currently trading at 766, so we've got support at 717, which is a low on this dip here, and we'll see. We also have the 100 period moving average support at 752. So those are key levels to watch. Facebook. Down as expected. One thing that is different with Facebook is because it had such a violent dip yesterday that it is still holding that low. We haven't seen that in any of the other stocks we're looking at. So we got a low here of 94.16, currently trading at 94.28 with a low of 94.23 and a low here of 94.25. So Facebook is still holding the low from yesterday. Pulling up the daily chart here to look at what levels we're looking at. Middle Bollinger Band 94.82, that's going to be resistance to open the day, and the 10-day moving average 94.36, that's about where it's trading right now. So we'll keep an eye on those levels. If it closes below the middle Bollinger Band, we'll be looking bearish on Facebook, as 96 seems to be pretty tough resistance. So again, watch these 100 and 200 period moving average resistances. Every stock that we've covered pre-market here, because the markets are down, is going to be testing those levels as resistance at some point today. So those are going to be the key to watch to see if there is any strength in a bounce to get over those support or the resistance levels and turn them into support. So from our, let's look at Twitter really quick for Marcus, and then we'll peek into our pattern watch list. Twitter is down. The low of the day, this is another one that, like Facebook, it's still holding the low of the day. So the low was 27.16, and it hasn't gotten down to that level yet today. So that is support, 27.16, and you have the usual suspects of resistance, the 100 and 200 period moving average. Those are what you're going to be watching, and Twitter is looking to hold 27 support. 29 is going to be strong resistance, but that's a ways to go. So we've got LinkedIn on our bounce watch list. Not much volume there as well. Still holding the 100 and 200 period moving average support. So that right there is a change in trend compared to everything else we've seen. So keep your eye on these support levels. We'll see if PCLN can stay bullish. We are watching for a bounce on that one. The key level to close above is the 10-day moving average, which is 189.33. So we'll keep our eye on that level and see if we can maintain these 100 and 200 period moving averages as support. VDSI, not much pre-market. It's going to be down. Been some wild swings on that one, but the bulls keep buying it up and closing it above the key level of 1838. So we're going to keep watching it as long as that keeps happening. CSIQ got hammered pretty hard yesterday with a big gap down. Watching for 20 support. Currently trading at 20.01. So the low of the day yesterday was 19.54. We're going to be watching $20 as psychological support and 19.54 if that fails. This might be a trade that we stock for a little while, looking and waiting for the bounce. Big gap to fill all the way up to $24, just under 24, about 23.75, and it could be a nice little bounce there. S, we're watching for bearish action. Right now it is down pre-market. I would ideally, the pattern with S, we've been watching it for a while. Last time it was on the pullback list, we saw a nice follow through, looking for a bounce in the morning for some strength, getting rejected from a key level. That level previously was 485, which is resistance on the weekly chart. Currently at that level right now. If we see it move up to $5 and get rejected on weakness, that will be a good signal for shorts or bearish positions. But we'll be watching, as I don't think it's going to close over 485 on the week. Very overextended in a short period of time with that big bounce. BTU. Twitter next support. Let me look at the daily chart really quick. We've got 4 minutes until the bell rings. So after 27, the low on this, it might even be the all-time low, is 26.87 for Twitter. So if 26.87 fails, it's going to be a falling knife scenario, and we're going to step back and wait for a bounce because the bears will be completely in charge at that point. 26.87. BTU. Wow, very good day pre-market. This is a penny stock. We'll call it a penny stock even though it's in $1. Currently at 156. Had a nice bullish day yesterday. Closed above the upper Bollinger Band. Upper Bollinger Band is 135. We've got the 50-day moving average resistance at 169. That's going to drop down a couple pennies with the open, but 169 is definitely a level of resistance to watch. Also watch your volume. Yesterday was 29 million. If it looks like in the first hour you're going to have more volume than 29 million, then that is definitely a bullish signal if the candlestick and price action is exemplifying that, obviously. So 169 is the key level to watch. After 169, I am looking at 180 as resistance. Let's check back in with SPY and see if it's finding any strength here with 2 minutes to go into the open. Got rejected, trying to find a higher low. Let me zoom in here just since we found our low pre-market. That was a bad zoom in. So we found our low, set a higher low and a higher high, and now we're trying to set a higher low. If we break below 206.41, it will break that pattern, but as of right now it is looking like we're going to test the 100 period moving average resistance in the opening moments, first 10 minutes of the bell. We got 1 minute here until we go. I'm going to sign off very shortly. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I will be talking to you in the chat room. Keep your eye on our pattern watch list, and keep your eye on SPY and that 200-day moving average. That is going to dictate a lot and could mean whether we see a bullish or bearish week next week. So thanks.